I mean, it's been what? Has it been a year? Maybe a little less than a year?
Yep, a little bit less than a year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, do you like ever reserve any time to reflect back, like how different your life has been in the past year?
Oh, totally. Like, it's crazy. Like, I just was worried about how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay rent and buy a car? And my shit, I've always said to myself, hey, if it doesn't work out, you can always wait tables. I was like ready because I've got, you know, a lot of experience. I was like, that was always my thing, is like, oh, you can just wait tables. And now it's like, I don't know. I've just like done so fucking much that it's like, I never think about how am I going to pay my bills anymore. It's just kind of like do things so I can like grow as a person, and it's freeing. It's awesome because of the vlog basically. So it really was like life-changing for me.
Yeah.
The thing that I want to talk about this week is fucking gimmicks. Gimmicks in poker. I hate them so much. We all know the things that are good to be a winning player. For example, table changing, game selecting, seat changing, having position. If you are doing gimmicks, you're driving me fucking crazy. You're on the way out. You're in the fucking hot tub, but you're doing this thing. Because you really want to get out, you're really on your way out, you really can't take it anymore, but you're doing this thing, where you got your hands propped up, and you got your chest out of the hot tub because it's too hot for you, and you can't take the heat anymore. You don't really want to get out because you're like, it kind of feels good still, but you're like, but I'm kind of just too hot and I kind of can't take it anymore. Angle shooting is the biggest gimmick, obviously, and I think that's pretty accepted as being scummy. You might as well bring a fucking Muppet. You might as well bring a fucking puppet. Next step for you is you're on fucking Las Vegas Boulevard with a fucking hand puppet and a change bucket. Honestly, first you start table changing, and then you start table changing your way right out the fucking door. So let's dive right into these hands. I opened it up with Queen 10 off in middle position, getting a little bit loose. If you're gonna be on the loose side, be the aggressor.
This is really aggressive with the Queen 10 from early position.
75 to battle it out.
Yeah, because that's like half the fun.
Listen, she didn't come here to fold, right?
Play with Marley once. She was very, very, very aggressive. Put people in a lot of tough spots.
Well, Pat Carter calls in the button with 6-4 of hearts. Flop comes Queen 9-6 rainbow. I check.
I love this check from Marley.
He bets and we call.
Second player. 100.
Queen 10 plays so well as a check call here. She does do that. Oh, nice card for Marley.
Turn is a 10, bringing 2 diamonds. I check. He bets fairly large, like 60% pot or so. I don't really see anything else to do but call. 2 straights did complete, so you know, a good rule of thumb. Also, never want to be raised folding. River is a 7, and the backdoor flush gets there, so there's a 4-liner now.
Does he want to show down his pair of 6s or try to represent?
You should have an idea that the 6 is not good. He's going to go for it. I love this. It's not going to work.
Bet 600.
Marley's going to snap call.
And a call.
I check, and he bets pretty large, and I snap call. I mean, I have a bluff catcher at this point. And on to the next hand. This next hand, I open 5-6 of spades under the gun. Danielle calls next to act, and the big blind comes along as well. Flop is king 4-3, 2 clubs. Big blind checks. I bet, same bet, 1/3 pot. Danielle folds, and he calls.
Twitch streams and plays poker semi-professionally.
I was with them. They like provided, you know, the shelter. All the
Call
like,
75.
Cool. I wonder if Twitch got him involved in poker. Because I was wondering, I thought what that might happen when Twitch, when poker was really taking off on Twitch. I'm like, all the people involved who are into video games, like, why not check out poker?
Turns another 3, he checks, and we have the old 6 high, so we're gonna keep betting. And we bet, we're actually pretty small. We bet 1/3 pot again. Logic being the board texture has not changed at all, so I think his calling range is pretty static. He's definitely going to float flop, I assume, with a lot of ace highs and pretty bad hands for that bet sizing, so I kept his range pretty wide. He calls. River's an offsuit 9, he checks. I bet pretty large and he lets go. You know, he had queen high, so it wasn't exactly like I bluffed him off a good hand, but off to a pretty good start here. It's always good to like build up momentum early on in the session. I open it up with ace deuce of clubs to 75, folds to Andrew in the small blind, and he makes it 300.
300. Raise to 300.
Yeah, right on the ocean. But people have talked about it for a while. Like a bunch of my friends, they'll you know, have drinks and watch and bet on, you know, and people have said like really good things about it.
I call, and the flop is ace jack 8, 2 hearts, 1 club. He checks. Nothing to do here but check, and going to a turn, which is a very interesting card, jack of clubs. We both pick up a flush draw here, and we both have a lot of jacks. I think probably me a little bit more since I was calling pre-flop. He goes ahead and bets.
Deciding not to c-bet because he had so little of it, and he ends up turning just enough to stay interested.
He bets 375, 1/3 pot. Nothing to do here but call.
No, you don't want to give up with 5 high.
800 is the bet.
This is a really tough spot for Marley.
Especially having 2 clubs in her hand. One of the combinations that you'd expect Amo to play like this. Be a club draw. You're just not too interested on the flop.
Nice call.
He bets 800, kind of a value-y size. I think it over. They make a good point in the commentary. I don't beat any value, and I do block some of his bluffs, so that makes it not optimal. You can see the look on my face. I'm not very happy about it, but sometimes in poker, guys, you just have to fucking call. All right, so this is a very small pot, but I thought it was somewhat interesting. This is against Ricky, aka Reddit GTO. He opens it up on the button, and I defend queen 9 off in the big. Flop is jack 7-6 rainbow. Goes check check. Turn is an 8, bringing a backdoor diamond draw, and I go ahead and lead. And he calls. Good turn for me. I have queen high. I have an open-ended on to the nuts. When he calls, I think he's pretty pair heavy. He can definitely have some hands like he does. He can definitely have some diamonds. And when the river pairs the 6, it's not a good card for us. I don't really have that many 6s because if I had a 6, I probably wouldn't lead the turn because I have showdown value. He's more showdown value driven.
Bet this river.
His house.
240.
His house, Aoki's playhouse, and it really is. It's like an adult jungle gym.
There's like a foam pit, like a highboard.
I mean, he cakes people for crying out loud, you know?
Yeah.
Like it makes it, but
And I check it. I actually do get bluffed by to 10-4. Definitely good play by Ricky. And on to the next one. Cutoff opens to 150. I call on the button with 6-7 of diamonds. I told you, when you're on the button, you can definitely feel a little light. You know, you can be racist, you can be sexist, you can be belligerent, you can basically be Donald Trump. Because at the end of the day, you're the button, and people kind of have to just deal with you for your turn, even though you're kind of a piece of shit. But when you're in the small blind, you're basically like Trump's publicist. I mean, when you're in the small blind with queen 9 off, not much you can do. You have to just kind of close your eyes and run for cover. As Trump's publicist, every now and then when he starts to get out of line, you can slap him down with a fucking 3-bet. And Danielle squeezes in the small to 600. The cutoff folds, and yeah, I have a pretty questionable hand. Like I said though, I'm Donald motherfucking Trump, and my fucking publicist is trying to tell me to take a tweet down, and I'm like, no, I'm fucking Donald Trump. I'll do whatever I fucking want. I'm on the button. So I have 7 high. I call.
I don't know if we can do that here, so regularly.
Big 3-bet pot here. Marley in position.
Flop is Queen 8-4 rainbow. No diamond, which sucks. But if you're gonna call pre with 7-6 and you flop a gut shot to the nuts, in position you gotta float at least once. Turn is another queen, and she checks. I mean, this isn't really a good card to be bluffing on here. If she's got pairs, she's definitely in check call mode. If she checks again on the river, I think it's questionable. We could probably go for a bet on the river, so I'm leaving my options open. River is a brick, and she does bet, so now there's nothing really to do here but fold. Raising is kind of insane. We're repping something crazy like quads or a boat that we checked back, and even though I am at the stone bottom, old Marley would love to just go for it here, and every time I'm at the stone bottom, it's go time, and I need to put the pressure on. But I've learned from my ways, and I have cleaned up my act, and I now think about what the fuck I'm trying to represent, because that's kind of important in poker. Publicist Danielle, she got me. I took the tweet down. It was a little bit too racist this time, so slap on the wrist. So Jared in this hand raises under the gun. He's been pretty active, very aggressive. I've never played with him before, but Pat Carter calls, small blind calls. He's been very, very snug. I'm in the middle straddle, and I decided to get a little bit, I decided to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit here and get a little bit wild.
I want to die. Like, what? I want to fight people weaker than me, not you. Like, she does CrossFit all the time. And also, I was like, why do you want to hit me, dude?
She's a beast. Speaking of beastie, this is a squeeze. Creative squeeze. Marley senses some weakness. A lot of dead money in the middle.
Look at her posture. She's like perfectly.
She does have great
she broke a smile for you.
$825 with the King 3 offsuit. It's going to get through Pat, I imagine, but ZZ is going to have something to say about it.
If ZZ thinks this is a squeezy spot, he could definitely just get it in right now. Whoa! He lets it, wow.
You know, if I think that Jesse is opening way out of line and the small blind is literally never calling me unless he has the absolute top of his range, then I can get the more mistakes people are making, the more out of line you can get, and it's kind of this yin and yang with poker. Jamie makes a good point in the commentary. It does look pretty strong when people squeeze from the big blind because it is so easy to just flick it in. The reason why I shouldn't and you shouldn't be 3-betting these kind of trash hands is because when you get called, your life just sucks dick, and you're really just going to be in an island post-flop with a really fucking shit hand that doesn't play well and hard to navigate. And so you're basically, a lot of times, going to be one and done here. But I go out on a limb and decide to get a little disrespectful on these people. And it actually gets through, and small blind puts ace queen suited in the muck. So Jesse opens it up with kings in late. I call next to act with ace 10 of spades.
What's up, brother, man?
What's your name? Hank. Ricky. Nice to meet you.
Stop. Nice to meet you. Hey, bud, do you want to use this to sit on so you can see the
I'll be even with everyone else.
Cut her off.
Oh, yeah. No, that is
This is one of my best friends.
No, she saw a person in need and she reached out.
I'm Jared.
Up is 8-7 deuce, and he checks. With my hand specifically, there's really no incentive to be betting here. I've got two overs, couple back doors, probably the best hand, and we actually turn a small miracle. I mean, this turn could definitely raise, could definitely call. Can't really make a mistake doing either. Either is fine. I think I tend to. I'm leaning a little bit more towards like being aggressive versus him. Not because I hate his face. He's actually a very nice guy, and I enjoy playing with him. But just because he's a little bit over folding.
Advantage of if we tell you guys.
Bet 300.
Right, okay. Yeah, right.
Call 300.
And Marls loses her mind a little bit here. I lost my mind. It happens, you know, he decides to bet. I didn't think he was checking hands as strong as kings in the flop. I thought he was playing more straightforward than that. So I thought he was very, very capped the way the hand went down. As am I, once I just called the turn. And I decided to get a little bit wild here and raise the river, repping not too much. He is overfolding, and I definitely fucked up the sizing here. My stacks were short. Not that it matters a ton, but I thought I was making it 2,000.
Price though, almost 3 to 1. She doesn't have to be bluffing that often. He's only calling sets and straights. That's just, there you go. Hate to root against Miles. But I just think
so this hand, it folds to me in the hijack. I have queen 9 of clubs. I raise it up. D-Moon Girl calls next to act with king 10. I'd probably 3-bet if I were her, but no big deal. She's in position, so, you know, God will forgive some of your sins. Jared's on the button with queen jack suited. So Jared's actually eating pizza at this point, and they call him back to get his hand, and he very excitedly announces that he will raise. I don't like to put too much emphasis on live tells here, but it was definitely something that I considered. He didn't look like he was waking up with it. He looked like he was, I don't know, hitting the snooze button over there or something. So here, so I go ahead and 4-bet to 1,000. Danielle gets out of the way, and he thinks it over and calls.
So Marley steps out with the 4-bet here.
good timing as Jared doesn't have too much of a hand.
What is that, sausage?
Marley raised.
This is
D-Moon Girl flatted.
Non-fat pizza.
Jared was getting pizza, came back to the table, and re-raised.
Is it impossible pizza?
Yeah.
It's impossible not to eat
The pizza has to be in play here. There's some metagame going on.
sausage. That's pepperoni and that's plain.
Wow, this is a huge pot, you guys.
Are there any more tables by any chance? I wonder if there's any more little tables.
Not a bad flop for Marley when you're stepping out like that and you end up flopping your flush draw.
I'll just use this one.
Two overs.
Go for it.
Flop is 5, 7, 7, 2 clubs. So I'm very happy right now. I'm happy. He checks it over to me. I'm sorry, and I'm out of position. If you're in this spot and you get out of line and your hand selection is trash and you find yourself there, you fucking might as well do it. That's what I tell myself, you know, when I'm on first dates. You know, he took me on a date to his bedroom. He's obviously creeper, but I'm already there. I got myself into it. It's probably my own fault for wearing short shorts. It really was my own fault for saying hi to him in the grocery store. So I'm here. So I'm just probably gonna go through with it. And that's just my logic. Same thing applies here. Same thing applies here. So question is, do I want to check or bet? I think I'm just gonna check raise and hope he stabs at it, which is exactly what happens. Thank God.
Look at a tackle. 750.
Are they gonna check raise here? Probably. 2 overs flush draw. Yep, there it
Raise
is.
to 2,000.
That'll do it.
Wow.
Nice
Goes
flop.
skinny.
Nice hand.
You know what? I'm gonna 4-bet pot with queen high, and I got this flop, so kind of have to go with it at this point. This is a bit of a cooler. I open it up with kings. I finally get a real hand here, which is great because people have seen the king 5, so they think I'm insane. I open it up with kings, and Amo calls me on the button with 7-5 suited.
And all played till like 10 in the morning. This is the kind of stuff she gets us into, though, where I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to play a reasonable session and be done at midnight. It's 10 a.m. and rolling home.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness.
Quite the flop for Marley. Wow.
Cooler alert, and can it get worse for Andrew?
His day is not going well.
Oh my
Everybody else at the table
goodness.
was like cross-eyed. You guys are like,
What is this flop?
Flop is king 7-7. Now, I obviously have this board crippled, and, you know, I think that you could probably do a little bit of everything, as Doug Polk likes to say. I go ahead and bet very, very, very small. I chose to do this also because he is very, very, very aggressive. However, he does have it here which really sucks for him. Like I said, he's actually not having a good session as it is, so this really is not a good time to be coolered.
I think I
Raised
tapped out. I think
250.
he was a couple heavy. I tapped out a couple for sure.
He's a boss.
Andrew flops, trips, and is stone dead.
And he actually does go ahead and raise it up. And, you know, I'm thinking about Vegas and the fucking Mirage. Nothing to do here but just call. I think that if it's somebody who raises you on this board who is very, very tight and really is only going to be doing it with a 7, there's no reason to like balance or dick around, and I would just re-click it and try to get it in as quickly as possible, just because there's too many cards and runouts that will kill your action. But versus Amo, I just kind of want to let him continue to bluff if he is bluffing. Turn is a 9 of hearts, bring another flush draw. I check and he bets pretty big. Yeah, he bets 600 into almost 900, 2/3 pot. Unfortunate for him too, because now there's even more hands, like Jamie points out in the commentary. You know, she's right that there's a lot of hands now that have picked up equity. I could definitely float him sometimes in the flop with hands with good backdoor playability.
Call 600. Check.
And Andrew's going to bet river quite large. He is going to get raised, and he is going to be sick about it.
That's the most Canadian you have sounded today. He's gonna be sick about it, guys.
He just can't catch a break, eh? He's gonna go 1,500. Marley's gonna shove.
Yeah, depending on size, he could possibly get away from her raise.
Bet
Yeah, I mean, he
250.
huge bet. When she wants to put more money in here, it's a pretty clear signal that his 7 is dust.
All in.
Oh, she
Raise
does it
all in.
fast.
ADT, now everybody's all in.
Come on, Andrew, make the good laydown. He knows he's beat.
I think it's a little bit lucky for him that he picked such a big sizing that, like, going over the
Tell someone.
It's
send
a bluff
telegram,
catcher.
send a
nuts or
video.
nothing.
Smoke signals. Send smoke signals. And he said, laugh. And he said,
Call.
I got a text from everyone at the table.
Brutal.
Good luck, guys. I'm done. It's been fun.
Like, have you ever had to deal with any of that?
I've been very lucky. I've only had 2 backers, and one was my ex's good friend and one of like the salt of the earth people. And my current person who backs me for the big game is good friends with my old backer, and I've met him kind of through him, and he's also just like totally platonic. In no way have I really don't think that he even like sees me that way. I don't know.
Right.
It's like so business like. We're friends too, but it's like I've been lucky. I have obviously like been creeped on in other ways, but I'm just lucky that I hang out with good people, and so you know, that is what it is. But you're right, and ultimately, I mean, I've had people like buy action of me though, make like a one-off, like in a tournament, and I think that is definitely been some cases where they think that this is their way. If they buy 10% of me in the main, like, oh, and I don't even think it's as cut and dry as they want to fuck you. I think that some guys just want to talk to a cute girl. They just want to be around you. Like, they just text with you. If someone's going through backers very quickly, it's like not a good sign. Like, they're getting dropped all the time, and ultimately, like, you've got to win. Like, they're gonna give you money, but like, you got to win. What's the bottom line? Did you win or did you lose? You know, and you know, that's it.